Hello and welcome back to my channel. We are on week 11 of our 2023 update. Come with me and let's get started. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome, and I'm glad you were able to join us today. We are on week 11 of our 2023 seedling update. We're on week 11, and so most of the stuff that we have are no longer seedlings, they're plants. So we are going to just start calling this our weekly update. For this update, the first thing I need to do is get rid of my little fur baby. For this update, there are so many things going on around the house, inside as well as outside. So I will give you a complete update of everything that's going on in the house, whether we're talking indoors or outdoors. I will also show you some clips of us transplanting or uppotting these tomatoes, and I still have quite a few trays to go, into individual cells that they'll stay in until we're ready to transplant them out. And we will start seeds this week as well. So let me first share with you the seeds that I plan to start. Let's do that first. The seeds that we're starting this week, and I will not go through showing you how I put them in the individual cells. We won't go through any of those because there are many, many weeks that'll show how to do that if you're doing seeds for the first time in your garden. I think it's more important for me to share you the different types of vegetables and flowers that I'm starting now for my zone 6A, Southwest Ohio, from a timing standpoint, as well as sharing varieties that you might not even be aware of, or maybe things that you haven't even thought about planting in your garden. So we will concentrate on that and not on how to actually put the seeds in the trays. If you're interested in that information, please check out seed starting weeks 1 through 3 or 4. I know I did a very good tutorial on how to start your seed starting mix, how to put them in each of the individual cells. What we're planting this week only includes 2 vegetables. And this is just so I can keep a rotation going. So I'm starting 2 more lettuce seeds. I'm starting winter density. Winter density is, from my understanding, I've never grown this before, but others in my area have. And it's one of the few lettuce that don't bolt very easily in the summer. It looks like it's a very loose forming head. It looks like it's pretty short. It doesn't get very tall. But I'm going to try it, and I'm sure we're going to love it. It puts me in the mind of dynamite. This is dynamite that I have on the table here. These are just 2 plants. I had 4 in here, and I'm down to 2. We've already enjoyed the other 2. But this winter density reminds me of this lettuce right here. The other vegetable is another lettuce. It's called Prizehead Lettuce. It's a leaf lettuce, and it's from M.I. Gardner. Prizehead produces luscious heads with outer leaves that are loose and curled. The inner leaves are lime green, and the outer fringed leaf tips are purple to bronze. It's perfect for salads and garnishes. It's crisp, sweet, and tender, and slow to bolt. So this is another one of those that you want in the garden in the heat of the summer. So in your Julys and your August, winter density and Prizehead are a good green and red leaf lettuce that you can enjoy. Everything else that I'm planting this week is a type of flower. Last year was the first year that I truly concentrated on adding flowers to my garden space. And have I grown flowers before last year? No, I had always purchased my flowers from one of the big box stores or nursery or wherever I could put my hands on them. And I put most of the flowers in and around the house, not in my garden space. Last year, I added flowers to the garden space, and it brought in so many beneficial insects. So it brought in the bees. It brought in hummingbirds. There were so many hummingbirds in my garden. And I had, and it brought in birds too. I mean, there were so many birds in my garden, but they weren't picking at my vegetables. I had fewer issues with the white moth and worms and caterpillars and all those nasty bugs that get on at your plants and eat them, and you're wondering what happened. I didn't have an issue with them, so I didn't have to worry about organic ways to get rid of them last year. And I really believe it's because the flowers brought in the good insects, the beneficial insects that help keep a balance between the good and the bad insects. So we're going to do the same thing again this year, but we're going to add even more flowers to that space. We have already started wax begonias, and let's see if you can see this picture here of the wax begonias. We've already started those, and we did a few more trays of those. The wax begonias takes up to 28 days to germinate. And even though I have some germination, I mean, they are teeny, teeny, tiny. They're just really not growing that fast. So I'm not going to count on that tray that I have in there. So I started a few more just to improve my odds of getting some begonias. The next flower that I'm growing is a zinnia. Everybody has zinnias in their garden, right? Well, last year was the first time I ever had zinnias in my garden. The one thing about zinnias is that usually they can get like 3 feet, or up to 4 feet tall. As the season progressed, they can get really tall. So I searched specifically for varieties that didn't get really tall, because I didn't want the flowers to shade out my cabbage and the lettuce and green beans or whatever else I had growing. So I wanted to make sure that I had smaller plants. So I worked really hard to try to find some that were a little shorter when they're mature. So I found a Thumbelina zinnia, and it's multiple colors. This particular zinnia is a dwarf plant. They have blossoms of pink, white, scarlet, orange, and yellow. They're neat and they're compact plants. The plant's height is only 12 inches. 2 more zinnias. I have a candy stripe mix from M.I. Gardner. They're candy stripe. That's pretty cool for a zinnia, right? They can grow up to 3 feet tall. So I'm going to have to start cutting them for cut flowers for the home before they get too large. So that one's going to be pretty cool. And then salmon, which is another one from M.I. Gardner. These zinnias are the largest zinnia on the market. So when it says that one of the largest zinnias, I think they're talking about the head of the flower itself. That's it for the zinnias. And then we're going to move over into marigolds. And for the marigolds, same thing for me. Now, marigolds have a very different function in my garden. The marigolds have a scent that deter deer and other wildlife that you really don't want in your garden. So once they get the smell of that marigold, it kind of sends them in the other direction. So it's kind of a natural deterrent. It does nothing for squirrels. So let me be clear. Squirrels, chipmunks, they don't care. They don't care about your zinnias. But it can keep some of your rabbits away, some of your deer, those type of animals. I'm growing, for now, 4 different types. I'm growing a Crackerjack mix. This one gets 2 to 3 feet tall. And Harris seeds, there are no pictures, so I'm going to try to find a picture and put it here for you. But this is a superhero mix, and it's a compact French marigold series. The plants only get up to a foot tall. I'm also doing a Marigold Happy Harmony. It's from Harris Seeds as well. If there's a picture, it's right here. A Happy Harmony plant height is only 6 to 7 inches. And then there's also a Lemon Drop, which is a yellow marigold. It gets up to a foot tall. I had these in the garden last year and they did really well. They were really pretty. I'm also growing petunias, but I'm growing the Petunia Easy Wave, and I'm doing a red and a yellow. So these will not be in my garden. These will be as decoration around my home, strictly just for the curb appeal. not for the beneficial insects, but it'll be close to some of the green stalks that I have on the patio, so it's still a good thing. Petunias did extremely well for me last year, and I used to go pay $25 for a hanging basket or 35. I don't forgot. They cost so much, it just slipped my mind. Last year, I created my own hanging baskets from the seeds that I started in my indoor growing space. And the rest of the flowers that I'm growing are all one-offs. So let me just share those with you. If you have a shaded area, this one right here is the perfect flower for you. And I put these in a container on my front porch, which is shaded, I would say, most of the day. And they grew 4 feet tall. They were huge. They were massive. I mean, the male person and the neighbors and people just driving by asked what was growing in that pot because they thought it was so beautiful. So we will be doing that one again. I'm also doing a straw flower. And this is a copper red straw flower. I've never done this one before, so this one is a new for me. They get 2 to 3 feet tall, so I'll have to be very strategic in where I put the plants that are more than 2 feet tall. They looked really pretty when I saw them in some of the other gardens in my neighborhood. And then I have one flower that I'm growing that's supposed to be a perennial. Perennial means that it comes back every year. And I grew this last year, Penstemon, but it's a dazzler blend. And so there are pinks and purples. They did bloom a little later than my other flowers. Again, very beautiful. And they're supposed to be perennials. It's supposed to come back every year if you live in zones between zones 4 and 8. So I'm in zone 6. They're still in the container. At the end of the season, when they started drying, I kind of took some of the flowers that had dried and dropped them into the container. Didn't do anything special with them. We'll see if they're going to come back this year. But if not, I'm starting some more. And they were very pretty, even if I only get them annually. And the last one that I am growing is a Zinnia. Zinnia. Isn't that beautiful? And this is a mixture of colors. I mean, I did have some pink ones. I had some orange ones. I had some yellow ones. I mean, the blooms, when they opened up, they were massive. I almost feel like they opened and closed every day, but they are a boldly colored daisy-like flower, open by day, closed by night. So yes, they did close and open every day. And it blooms in summer and thrives in dry heat. So those are all of the flowers that I am starting for this week. In addition to the flowers that I'm starting, let me share with you how I did on uppotting my tomatoes this week. I had some peppers. Here's a little bit of the video clip just so you can see it. Do you know how to fill them up?
Yeah, I watched you.
You watched my video? So you got to fill it all the way up first before you start rubbing.
I didn't know that was.
Don't talk. Just do it. Once you got all the cells, you got them all full, just fill them. That's it. All right. So let's do the. Tell you what, you go ahead and be filling these up while I'm working on the orange yummies. My 10-year-old really wanted to help out with this seed starting. Last year, she was a big helper in the garden, and she wanted to help in this time as well. So I figured this was a good chance for her to get in and help with all of the uppotting. As I put these yellow yummies in, I am going to plant them to the same depth they already were. And they have a lot of roots, so I'm trying to make sure that I get the majority of those roots under the soil so they can continue to grow. I had forgot that I actually uppotted 3 different vegetables during this time period. They included the rest of my peppers, lettuce, as well as some of the tomatoes. Okay, so before we jump into the tomatoes, we're going to go ahead and up pot this lettuce because they're outgrowing the containers that they're in. So we're going to up pot those first. So we are going to get this crisp head lettuce first and get that up potted. Put me up another one of those. I have my other helper down here now. Other helper, can you put me a label in here?
Label? Right here.
Got it. Can you make me this label?
Okay.
Over on that table over there. Here you go.
Yeah.
Both of my daughters continue to help me by making labels and filling the cells for me to transplant or up pot all of the seedlings. They had fun doing this task and they want to help me do it again sometime in the very near future. We continued to do this process for about an hour and a half until I just got too tired to go any further. During this time, we up potted tomatoes, peppers, and lettuce. All right, we're at a point where we need to take a break. So I think that's going to be it for today. I'll catch you back here tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed that clip with my young helpers helping me fill my seed trays and create name tags for my young plants. But I know what you're waiting on. I know you're waiting on the actual update of everything that's been going on over the last week. So here's the video of everything that I've been growing and taking care of over the last week, including taking care of my fur baby here. This is my weekly update. I want to show you how my young seedlings and my pots and all of my containers are doing. All of these plants have been hardened off and they are waiting to be transplanted into the ground, raised bed, or GreenStalk. Some of those young seedlings, those starts, have been added to these two GreenStalks. This GreenStalk here is dinosaur kale, mustard greens, and curly kale. In the GreenStalk here, you have different types of lettuces from top to bottom. There's nothing in the bottom tiers of either one of these containers. That's all for outside. Let's move indoors. In here, I have all of my chitting potatoes. So they're starting to get some nice eyes on them. Those are doing really well back there. I have not been keeping those towels moist, but it appears to be doing well without it. We had an issue with some of the cabbage. We gave them too much love. Basically, we gave them too much water and left them sitting in water. And you can see what happens when you leave your plants sitting in water. So we lost 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 cabbage starts. So we will need to replace those. In the grow tent, everything else is looking really nice. The peppers are settling into their new up-potted homes. I still need to up-pot a few of the peppers back there in the very, very back there. The additional lettuce and bok choy is doing nicely. The hostas was right there, and this is going to be an epic fail. So that's oregano to the side here, and then everything else is hosta, and I'm going to call it an epic fail this year. Maybe my seeds were too old since they were 2-year-old seeds. This is all my celery, all the herbs in this space here. I may up pot those one more time before I put them outside. That's basil there. And here's basil in the front. Now you can see the eggplant is growing. The Brussels sprouts are up. The parsley is up. And in this tray here, it was a full tray of cabbage. And you can see there's quite a few cells missing. Some of these are not doing so well and others are thriving. So I'm trying to let them completely dry out before I water them again to try to get them back on track. And all the way down here are more peppers that we up potted last week. They're looking good. The round 3 cabbage I started is up. It only has first leaves. It doesn't have true leaves yet. We'll definitely need those since I lost 9 of the other ones. This tray right here is my Guten Gartenings seeds, and they are starting to break the ground. And then back here are all of the tomatoes. I have to start up potting them. The true leaves are in, and we need to make sure we take care of those. Let's talk sweet potatoes next. Slips are on pretty much everything down here. I have slips on everything. I've actually removed 2 of the slips from this space here. I have those 2 slips in water. One of my viewers said, you don't need to cut them off, just pull them off. And that's exactly what I did. And they came off with roots already on them. So we are already 2 slips in for the season. Up here, I have my orange hat. And there are little blooms all over this plant. They are doing amazing. My merlot back there has come back with a vengeance. In one more week, it'll be just as full as it was a week ago when we harvested so much of that lettuce. This is my dynamite, and I had 4 plants in this pot. I'm down to 2 plants, and those 2 are filling up nicely, putting on some really nice heads. So we'll be harvesting those this week as well. This pot was salad bowl, is coming back. Salad bowl in this pot, and it's coming back as well. And in here is my romaine. And the reason why this romaine is stunted, I guess is what we should say. This is that same horrible potting mix that we also have in our GreenStalk on the top. And you see all of the sticks and everything in there. So that's why I believe the romaine lettuce is stunted. The potatoes, they look good there. And then in the potato container here, this is the larger potato container. And look at this. This means that there are potatoes under the ground in that container. Some more lettuce over here. And I need to be careful. This is starting to bolt. When it gets long like this, the long stem, it's trying to bolt. So we need to harvest this and try to, let me just go ahead and break it off, and try to slow that bolting process. The rest of this plant looks really good. It was just that one shoot. This is broccoli in this back container here. And this is actually from a seed share as well. So this is from Guten Gartenings. And this broccoli is from last year's seeds. So there are seeds that are already a year old and it's doing well. And now let's come back over here to the GreenStalk. The bottom, we have the bok choy. And we cut a lot of this out a week ago. And we saved a couple and let them get a little larger. And look at these. These are nice now. They are ready to harvest. And for the ones that we actually cut out, let's look at this and show you how they're coming back. We actually cut this one out and look how it's coming back. This one's coming back as well as this one. So it's almost like cut and come again lettuce. In the other rows here, the black seeded Simpson is starting to puter out on me as well, and it's going to seed. So we will actually cut this out and replace it. Same with this one here. It's just starting to get really brittle, old, going to seed. So we're going to take care of that. The little gem up here and the dark rodent, we are going to take that out if we can get it out and save the roots and repot those into other cells or other pots. The Bib lettuce here, again, it's in that really bad soil. We're going to try to get that out of there as well and try to amend the soil as much as we can. And finally, all the way up here at the top are all of the micro dwarf tomatoes. And they are finally starting to do something. So you see this one here, it actually has little bitty buds here that's going to open up into flowers here shortly. That's the red robin. Just all of a sudden, they're finally trying to do something. And that's it for my weekly update. I hope you enjoyed this update. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and come back again and enjoy more videos by hitting the subscribe button as well as notifications. Thank you for joining me again. Have a wonderful, blessed day, and we will see you back here again next week. Bye-bye.